Hi guys, so I'm back with another video and this is going to be our part 4 of BMICalculator app using .NET MAUI. So in last video we have seen how can we design a UI on different platforms. So we showed how can we modify the padding and other properties on the basis of current platform. So how this UI looks like on should look like on Android and how it should look like on iOS. So that's what we have seen in last part. So if you haven't seen the last part, I'm going to add the video link to the description and in I button, so you can I would recommend you to first check out the previous parts then continue on this one. So in this one, this is the app we have built so far. So we have these gender buttons, male female, then we have this height slider, we have this weight slider, then we have this button to calculate the BMI, then we have this some informative text. And if we look at this main page.xml, all this UI is on this page only. So there are so many things going on this page. So in this video what we are going to do, we are going to create controls, reusable controls. For example, this male icon, female icon, all these things are similar, the UI is similar. So we are going to create a control for this, that is a content view basically. So reusable controls, and then yeah, let's continue. So first thing, for this thing we have this border background, this thing, this border is background border, right? So if we go next, after gender, this grid with these two borders here. So this thing, this is for male. We have this horizontal stack layout, image and label. Yeah, this thing we have for male and the similar thing we have for female. So we are going to create a control, the content view control, so that we can have single line and we can reuse the same XAML. So in order to do that, let's first stop the app. We need to stop because we are going to add a folder to the solution. So let's call this folder as controls, and then cannot rename controls because the new the existing file folder. What is existing file folder? Let me close the Visual Studio and open it again. Okay, so I have reopened this and this is controls folder. Now next thing, let's create a new item and it will going to be a .NET MAUI content view using XAML. So let's call it gender control, and we are going to copy the this thing, this border. This is for yeah, we are going to copy this inside this thing. Okay, now this icon tint color behavior, this does not exist here, so we need to add this toolkit namespace. We have this now. Fine. Now this image source and this text, we need these two things come from its parent basically. So in this case the parent is our main page, so we need these things to come from this main page. This so for that these should be properties, bindable properties. So let's create two bindable properties, public static read only bindable property, and let's use first one image source property, and it will be bindable property dot create, and on create first thing property name, so let's have it as image source. Then second is a return type, so this is going to be string, so let's have it as type of string. Let me move it to next line. Yeah, third one is declaring type, so type of this element or this class, so this is type of gender control. And then next thing is default value, so for this one we could have null, or maybe let's have as string dot empty as default value. Now this is bindable property, we need property, a usable property which we can use on the UI for this gender control. So let's create one more property with the actual name, so image source, and now instead of this thing we are going to use this. So using this bindable property we will play with this image source, we will set or get this image source property, so we are going to use this image source property on this XAML. Okay, and similar thing we need to do for the text, so let's have it as text, let's have one more as text, and this is also going to be as a string only, so we should be good now with this. Now when we say get and set, now we need to get this value. Whenever we are accessing this image source, the value should come from bindable property, so for that we have a get value method. In this we can give this image source property. Now it returns object, so we could typecast it to string, so this is for get. And when we say set, so setting should set this bindable property, it requires one bindable property, that is this image source property, and value will be value. And we are going to do same thing for this text, so let me copy paste it, and we will use this text property at both of these places. So this thing is ready now. Now we need to use these properties on this UI. Okay, so instead of this mail, this image source mail and this mail, we are going to use these things, image source property and text property. So in this case what we are going to do, we are going to follow a different approach. So instead of directly adding this XAML UI, we will create a control template. So on this content view we can have content control template. We are going to create a control template, and in this let's have this control template, and now we are going to move this UI to this. Now we can access this, so these two things are dynamic here, this image source, so we can get this from template binding. So how this template binding is going to work, wherever we are going to use this, it will get it from its parent, basically, in simple terms. So template binding for this template, this is not parent, this is code, it's code behind. So image source, this will come from image source, and this text will come from template binding this text. So this image source, let's change it to icon image source. uh, Image source, right? So let's set name it icon image source property, and this should be icon image source. Let us rename it in here. Let's do this. Okay, so now if we save it, we have everything here, and this color is also dynamic, right? So on main page, gender, yeah, this color is also different. So tint color and this label color, then tint color white, label color white. Yeah, this color is also different. So let's create one more property for this color. So for color, we can have either the string value or color value. But if we are going to use it on UI, it should be color. So either we can have converters or we can directly have it as color property. So let's use color property here. So the bindable property, it will be do we need this from there? Of course we need it from there. Okay, color property, and let's create one more property here. We'll call it color property, and this will be color. Okay, and we're getting it as string, and then what if we get this as we are going to get this as a string. If so, we need this as a color on UI. So on UI, we can, when we are going to use binding, we cannot use string values. So as I mentioned, either we can create converters or we can have a different route. So let's create one more property which will be of type color, or maybe let's call it main color or tint color. Okay, so tint color, this is of type color, so we need to have this color whenever this color value is changing. So the default value, let's have it as colors dot white. Let's have it like this. Then whenever this color value is being changed, this tint color should also change. So for this, let's use a callback handler which this bindable property dot create gives us. So after that, we can have property changed event, this property changed event delegate. So let's have it property changed, property changing. Yeah, we should use property changed, and it needs a bindable property changed delegate, and it should be a type of, okay, we need this signature. So as this is a delegate and these are static properties, so we need to define a static method here. It could be private static on color changed. We could name it whatever we want, this thing, and it should return what? Void. So this bindable object, this will be this current object of this gender control class. So we will check first thing, if we know this is going to be this gender control, but still there is no harm in being double sure, and we need to typecast it, so we'll use this pattern matching approach. So we have this gender control now, and now we will check if the old value is not equals new value, if the value actually changed. In that case, in that case we are going to say that gender control dot color, it should be so color dot from, can we get it from color, color class, on this we can get it from to from argb, it is saying from hex obsolete use from argb, and from argb we have this color dot from argb. So this color is, oh, because of this color, let's have it as tint color. So color dot from, okay, means it is getting this color. Okay, we can check Microsoft MAUI graphics color. Let's type this Microsoft MAUI graphics dot color dot from RGB, from ARGB string color is hex code. Yeah. So we will have new value here as this thing. So the new value, okay, let's have it as toString, and let's check it if these are not same and new value is not null. Now tint color is changed, so whenever this tint color, this is going to be changed. So now next thing is we need to tell MAUI that this property has changed. So for that, let's change this tint color to a full property. So we will have a private color, tint color, and we will use this when we are getting it. So the default value, we can have it at this level. So we will return this, and if we are setting it, in this case, what we should do, we should check if this is not same, then we will set it, and then we will say on property changed name of tint color. So it will tell this MVVM that this property has been changed, so you need to make this expected changes for this property. So whenever we are saying this thing at this time, this is going to be called, it will set this value, and after that it will trigger on property change. So I guess we are all set with this. No, we need to use this in gender control. So now we need to use this tint color here. So binding and this tint color. Now the problem comes because this template binding, we can get it from there, from its parent. It is going to set this bindable property and then we are going to get this, but in this case from the parent we will get this color property which is string, but we need to use this tint color which is not a part of bindable property. So in that case we are going to change the approach. So for that, let's have a name on this thing. Let's call it this. So we need this property, this tint color property from this reference. So we will add binding and this tint color. For this we will change the source. So the source is going to be from this reference, this, and path will be this tint color property. So let me move it to next line, and yes, and same thing we need for this text color. So let's use this. Instead of this color we will use this thing. So I guess it is done. Yeah, one thing, this grid dot column 0. So now this is not going to be part of this gender control because there is no grid here. So let's save it, and we made everything. Okay, now let's go to main page.xml, and from here we could now remove this. For now let's comment it out, and now we need to use this gender control. It comes from controls. So the namespace is BMICalculator.control. So we need to add it as a namespace here. So XML namespace, let's call it controls, and what happens? Let's have controls and this controls. Okay, now we are going to use that controls dot gender control. First thing, let's have this grid dot column 0. Now we will set these properties, these bindable properties. First one is icon image source property. So we are going to have icon image source, and this is this thing male. Second is text, this is this male, and then third one is this color. So we have this color now, and it should work now. Let's save it and let's run it. We missed something. Oh, property change. We need to call this, what was the name, on color changed. Property changed is on color changed. Fine, let's run. So it's running and we can see the UI is same. Now let's go to main page and let's do the same thing with the second border. We can copy this and then paste it again, this time column 1, and the source is female and the text is also female. So we can see it is changing, that means it is working female. And then the default color. So the way we have designed our this gender control.xml.cs file, so we need this color as string only, that too hex string. So if you see, color is hex because we are using this thing. So let's go, and instead for the female control we were using white color, but we need to use hex code for that, which is this 3 4 5 6. And now there is something which is not working, and that is, oh, this background color. Right, this background color is also different. For this it is white, and for this is this color. Okay, so let's add one more property here. This color we will copy and paste, copy, paste. Let's call it bg color property. Let's call it bg color. Gender control on bg color changed, and let me create this. Okay, so let me create bg color. So the same color we use for tint color, the same approach we are going to use for this bg color. Okay, so I have replaced this all the strings as bg color, and the main color is as background color. So let's use this background color on this border. This border is white. Where was it? Was it on border? Background color white and border background color this here. On border. So this border color we are going to use this approach. So let's copy this and let's have this, and instead of tint color we will use background color. Okay, so here everything is fine. Let's come here, and from here we will pass this. Let me break it to the new lines. Okay, and we will have this as background color, and this should be, for the first one it should be white, and then for the second one it should be background color as where is it? Yeah, this one, as this, and not background color, it should be bg color, bg color. Okay, fine. So let me rerun this, and yeah, it came and it is working, right? So everything looks same as before. So now we can remove this border and this border. Now we have delegated this functionality to this custom control, reusable control. Now the same thing we are going to do with this button. So let's have everything here with slider, vertical, and now this button, because we are going to need a separate button. When we click on this, it will show us the BMI, and after that we will change this button to reset button, and the look and feel and everything will be same as this button. So instead of creating two buttons here, we'll create a control, and then we will move this complete functionality there. So let's do this. In this controls folder, let's create one more content view, and let's call it maybe BMI button control. BMI button control, fine. So we are here, and now we will do the same thing we have done for this one. So content control template first thing, and the inner part, this should be derived from this thing. So this image button, this is going to be part of that. So we will copy this, comment this out, come here, instead of this border we will have this thing. Now let's see what all we need. We need this right arrow button, so it should be a property. After that, So this button, this color of this button, tint color, this is going to be the same, so we don't need to have it as a bindable property. So we need this only, and yeah, we need this pressed event, button pressed, because the functionality of these two buttons will be different, right? So first thing, right arrow, that means source property. So let's check here. We can have the same thing, copy this icon image source. Let's go to BMI button control. Let's have it here, and then instead of gender control, it should be BMI control. And let's copy this thing directly here, icon image source, and everything is fine. Now let's use this same as we are using on. Oh, did I made some mistake? Oh, I copied it here, my bad. So this image button, yeah, this should be border, and we need this here. Save all, and now we need to stop it. Stop, stop. Fine. So for this right arrow, we will do the same thing. It should come from template binding, and it will be icon image source. Alright, icon image source. Where is this? This thing. Icon image source. Icon image source. Fine. And we need this press button. So for this, we are going to have, okay, we need this tint color behavior as well. So for this, we will add this namespace of tool community toolkit, and we are good for this pressed. So let's create this here. We have this thing. Now this is going, no, it shouldn't be calculate BMI, it should be just, let's have it as button pressed, and go here and change it to button pressed. Fine. So whenever we press this button, we need to indicate the parent of this BMI button control component, that is main page.xaml. We need that event here. So in order to do that, we are going to define a public event handler here, public event handler, and let's call it button pressed. And from this button pressed, we will simply invoke this, and we don't need to pass any parameter, because the functionality of this button press, it will be a part of main page.xaml, so we don't need to pass anything from here. We will simply notify that this button has been pressed. Okay, so looks like this thing is done and we are good. Yeah, we don't need the grid.row one here. Save, and yeah, everything is fine here. Let's come here, and now we will set that here controls dot BMI button control. First thing, this grid.row, this thing, let's do this, and after that we will have icon image source property, which we will set with this thing, and after that we have button pressed event, and this is not coming. And why it is not coming, let's check it on here. Public event handler button pressed, it should come. Okay, no problem. If it's not coming, let's have it like this, and on this we will call this thing. So now everything looks fine. Let's save everything and run the app. And it is saying property button pressed was not found. And why it is not found? Button pressed probably. Oh, it should be event, public event, event handler button pressed, and now yeah, we got it. Let's run it. So it's here and UI looks same. And let's check if this button press functionality, if this is working. So let's come here and let's have alert here, public async void, and let's have shell.current.display alert BMI is this BMI, and this thing should be okay. So let's rerun, and now we should be able to see this display alert whenever we click that button. So that button pressed actual event will come from BMI button control.xaml, this custom event. It will invoke this button pressed event, and on main page.xaml we are adding event handler for this, and it should display this alert. Let's see, and it's working. Okay, so looks like we got this working, and now we can remove this as well. Why this is here? Maybe this is from previous parts when we are trying to design this. Let's remove it, clean it up, and everything looks fine now. Okay, fine. So that's all for this video, guys. So please like this video if you like my content, and share this video and subscribe my channel for more videos. And in the next part we are going to finalize this app. So on clicking on this button, we will change this button to reset button. We will show the BMI value, and on the basis of that BMI value there will be a message if you are underweight, overweight, normal, or obese. So all this we are going to do in next part. So yeah, bye bye.